standard procedure really. It makes it safe and fun for everyone to enjoy, because if it is unsafe, then then it is going to become not much fun for others. Badminton, the weather doesn't really affect play, for example, purely because it's an indoor sport unless you're playing outdoors with your mates. But when it's played in the Olympics or Euro Championships or World Qualifiers, it is always played indoors or in a massive sports arena, so the weather cannot affect this. About the standard of opponent. When playing badminton, it is crucial that you target a weakness in your opponent. As soon as you can find this, you can hammer down on them. By this is what I mean is, if their weakness is a long shot, then always make sure you return a long shot back, because then if they can't play a long one, you can then step forward and try and do a little quick one. By this, what I mean is a block. So if you play a quick one over the net, then you can win the point because they can't play a long one. Use of space on a badminton court. For example, this could be maximising your space. So when playing, you could have 1 court, 2 court, 3 court, or if you want to play a bigger court, then you could go 1 and 2 court. Also, if you've got a lot of people, then you could double up and play doubles. So that's 4 people to 1 court instead of 2 people to 1 court. So you're maximising the space, and hopefully more people will enjoy this. This is merit for 27.1. Continuous technique in futsal, running, volleyball and badminton is all the same, it is all running. A serial technique in futsal, volleyball and badminton. In futsal it's a free kick and dribbling, in volleyball it's jumping, and in badminton it's jumping. A discrete technique in futsal is a pass, a shot, a header or a throw. Volleyball, a discrete technique is a block, in badminton it is a serve. Choice of shots, in futsal it's an inside foot, the outside foot, a toe punt or the laces when striking the ball. In volleyball it would be a smash or a pike. Badminton, a smash, a clear or a drop shot. Positioning, futsal, defensive attacking, volleyball, back of court, front of court, badminton, back of court, front of court. And environmental conditions, they're all played indoors. About the similarities these sports have. These sports all have one thing in common, and that is the fact that they are all played indoors. So the game cannot get waterlogged, weather cannot affect it. The only way weather can affect one of these sports is for the spectators coming to watch and players get into the game. For example, there could be a snowstorm, so whatever country you live in, or there could be a flood preventing people to get to the badminton, futsal or volleyball match. But that is the only way the weather or a condition will affect an indoor sport, unless the sports all burns down or something happens to the court. Something else I touched on earlier, it was a closed skill, and futsal, badminton and volleyball all have this in common. They are all a closed skill. In futsal there's lots of running and finding space, and that is the same within badminton and volleyball. You've got to find the space, run to the ball, make sure you get there, make sure you win the ball and it doesn't go out of play. In badminton obviously it's called a shuttlecock, so just make sure you stay in the badminton court, and that you keep it in and make sure you're finding the space and always running. Badminton and volleyball have another aspect in common, and that is the word smash. Is what I mean by this is, in volleyball you've got a smash shot, and in badminton you have a smash shot. Obviously they're 2 different sports, so they're not entirely the same, but they have the same principles. The principle is hit the ball down and at an angle and as powerfully as you can. This is so that you can win the game, win a point, because it's pretty much unreturnable, should I say, because as long as you hit it with enough power and enough angle on it, you will win the point as soon as it gets down, and that is the same for badminton and volleyball. In football it varies slightly, there's no smash shot, but in futsal you could volley the ball, so that would be a smash, just run and absolutely strike through it. as much power as possible. That would probably be the closest you get to a smash in futsal, but as it goes, there is no smash shot in futsal. But the other two have this in common, and this is a similarity about patterns of movement within the three sports. Futsal, badminton and volleyball all have a court and they all play indoors, like we have touched on. But in more depth, they sort of have attackers and defenders. By this is what I mean in futsal. Obviously you have attackers and defenders when going forward and when defending. So you have 2 players or a couple, 3 players, but obviously you only have 5. But 4 outfield. So you'd elect a couple of players to attack and a couple to defend. So you'd not concede a goal, but obviously try and get a goal going forward. In badminton, this is sort of similar. For example, playing doubles, you'd elect one man to go forward and one man to go backwards. So you'd have your attacker and your defender. So he'd cover all the attacking shots, and the guy he'll do all the defensive shots and the long ones over the top. So a clear shot, for example, that is the correct terminology in badminton. And then volleyball, obviously you'd have 3 people at the front and 3 people at the back. You'd have people down there looking to play a set, a spike, for example, to try and win the game. So they're always talking. Lots of communication is key to these sports, and making sure that they are finding the space and the correct positions on the court to maximise their chances of winning the game. About differences within these 3 sports, starting off with futsal. In futsal, you have 5 players from one team and 5 players from the other, making 10 players on the pitch at a time, and then 2 referees, 1 at either side. And then you have another referee doing the time and the score. Furthermore, in futsal, if you can find a weakness within the opponent, so this could be a player that can't make a proper pass, we also work on triggers and breaking lines. When a trigger is when a player makes a mistake, so that is a weakness. So straight away, the attacking team, when they're pressing, everyone will shout press, and then they will go to that man and find their other men around the court. This is how you would attack, get a goal, put them under pressure, and hopefully win the ball back. I'll now talk to you about badminton. Differences in badminton, for example, this could be a player playing a clear shot and he can't return it, so the player that's playing the clear shot would keep doing that because they know their opponent is a weakness with clear shots, so he can't return them. So this is how they would try and win the game. And lastly, volleyball. When playing volleyball, players could be, they can't cope with the pressure. So if you put lots of pressure on that person, lots of mind games, lots of talking, this will hopefully win you the game. About discrete technique within the 3 sports. Firstly, futsal, badminton and volleyball are all different. We're going to start with badminton. Badminton, you've got the clear shot, you've got a couple of other shots that you can use. And the idea of that obviously is to win the game. So if you're going to play a smash shot, for example, you try and win the point, but obviously we'll need to build that up with a couple of clear shots and a couple of good serves, and making sure that you're using the correct skills involved to do that, so you're executing it well. And then, yes, so that would be badminton. And then in volleyball, like we touched on earlier with the player having a weakness, if you can find that player, put them under pressure, lots of mind games, lots of communication, making sure that you're getting the smash shot over correctly, making sure that you're defending properly, making sure that you're setting the ball, and a spike as well. They are all brilliant skills involved to try and win you the game. And lastly, futsal. There are many ways of playing the game. I personally prefer to play a 2-2 or a 1-2-1 like a diamond, but it all varies depending on the game situation. Other skills you'll need in the game of futsal are, the discrete technique you will use is passing, finding space, shooting, just making sure that you're putting in a good team effort and making sure you do a couple of those 3 key discrete techniques to try and win you the game. Lastly, I will talk to you about patterns of movement within the 3 sports. Starting off with futsal. there are many patterns of movement you can use. You've got obviously your shape, which is key to stick to. But obviously, if the ball or something happens in the game, you need to be able to adapt to this. So whether that's pressing the ball higher up the court, or or dropping back and defending and tucking into a really tight diamond shape, you just don't know. So you need to be ready to adapt to every situation and just go on it. Go on instinct as well, and make sure you listen to your coach. Therefore, finding lots of space is crucial. So with passes, you can take out players, break lines. By that is what I mean is when you pass the ball and then the player runs through a player or goes past him, he's now behind him, that is breaking a line. This is crucial, and if you do this all game, it will win you the match, because it means you'll have everyone behind you, and then all you've got to do is beat the keeper one-on-one and just get a big shot on target, and hopefully score in the back of the net. Secondly, we've got volleyball. In volleyball and badminton, the movement is not like it is in futsal, purely because there is a net involved. So obviously you have to stay to your half. You can't go to the other person's half like you can in futsal when you're running from half to half. Both of these sports include smash shots and a clear shot. There's a set in volleyball which are crucial, that you must do in the game to win you the game. Otherwise, you're not going to be playing effectively. And lastly, you can go wherever you want within the half, as long as you've got a good shape and you're sticking to that, and that there are no empty spaces, and that you're just not covering them. So as long as you're covering them and you've got good tactical awareness.